Hey, welcome to Breaking Traditions. Hope you've been enjoying this journey that we've taken together of devotional life and learning and growth together. Really excited about this next section that I get to talk about. It's going to be faith. And so here we are, day one of faith. I want to talk about, what is faith first and foremost. Hebrews 11 verse 1 says, faith is the confidence that what we hope for will actually happen. It gives us assurance about things we cannot see. And that's a great description of what faith is. It's this belief in something that's maybe not quite tangible to us in a physical realm, but it's something that we know is there. And it's the evidence, it's the proof that what we know is there is really and actually there. Faith does a few things for us. Faith is what makes us righteous before God. Romans chapter 4 verse 5 says, but people are counted as righteous, not because of their work, but because of their faith in God, who forgives sinners. Romans chapter 1, verse 17 says, this good news tells us how God makes us right in his sight. This is accomplished from start to finish by faith. As the scriptures say, it is through faith that a righteous person has life. So without faith, it's impossible for us to be righteous before God, because it's that faith that allows us to believe in Christ as his son and to accept his sacrifice for us. It's faith in what that sacrifice does for us. It's faith in who God is that creates righteousness and creates an environment in our life that allows that righteousness to grow. Another thing that faith is faith is eternal. Paul, in his writings to the Corinthians, in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13, says three things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these being love. But faith is one thing that Paul points out that's going to last into eternity. I believe that's one of those things that when we get to heaven and maybe we're before the throne of judgment, that God is going to evaluate the faith that we had in our lives and the faith that we demonstrated in our lives. It's an eternal matter. Obviously, it affects the eternal state of our soul and our being, in that we have to have faith to believe in Christ. But it's also eternal, and it's one of the things that God's really going to reward us for in the end. Faith is also, it's what allows us to interact with God. In Ephesians chapter 3, verse 12, it says, because of Christ and our faith in him, we can now come boldly and confidently into God's presence. Without faith, we can't commune with God in the way that we're supposed to. It's faith that allows us to pray in the manner that we're supposed to pray. It's faith that allows us to worship God. It's faith that allows us to have contact with his divine presence. Because God is righteous, he can only have contact with that which is pure and righteous. And we know that faith is what brings purity and righteousness into our lives. Without that, we can't have the kind of contact with God that we're supposed to have in our lives. Faith is crucial and key to that. Last of all, faith is what God calls us as Christ followers to share with the lost. Romans chapter 10, verse 17 says, so faith comes from hearing, that is, hearing the good news about Christ. We are to have faith. We're to share our faith with others. Faith is what we live. It's who we are. It's our belief in Christ. And that affects our whole person. That's what makes us a Christ follower. And God calls us to share our faith with others around us. I want to challenge you today, as our challenge for breaking traditions for today is to find somebody to share your faith with. That's your challenge for today. Think about your faith. Think about what it means to you, and find somebody somewhere that you can share that faith with.